Hey guys, it's Bush, and today I would like to talk to you guys about the easiest repeater builds I've found to play. These not only give you attack speed, but they also keep you alive almost the entire fight, and are very useful in patrols where you don't have self-healing, but in escalations they can also stack with the self-healing and escalations and make you basically an invincible pistol boy. The first build is my discipline build. If you are not a fan of using discipline, you like to have your entire health pool, don't worry, the next build will be that, so just bear with me right here and we'll get into that. But if you guys like discipline, then this build is definitely for you. I have on it max out catalyst because you got to be drinking your tonics, and you need your tonics to be more effective and last longer because tonics are expensive. The longer they can last, the better you are off. I have Iceborne. As I said, these builds will have lifesteal in it, so a 6-stack of Iceborne is what I found really helps me. I also have Wild Frenzy for attack speed. You gotta have attack speed, especially on the repeaters. Your attack speed is your biggest throttle, so the faster you can be attacking, the more damage you can be doing. Conduit I also have because attack speed's nice. Of course, Discipline, as I said, keeps me at 50% of max health maximum, but it also gives a crit strike chance, which is very nice. It's a nice passive. I really like Evasion. I'm a big fan of Evasion. I like a slightly larger dodge window. 21% is significant, I found, while playing, but if you do not need this, there are plenty of other slot cells you can put in this slot. You can basically take this agility cell and do whatever you want with it. I also have some Molten. Tough, again, I said there's going to be lifesteal in this build, so what's lifesteal without a little bit of tough? Alright, so I'm going to go through all of my weapons and just tell you where everything is slotted for this build. In my Alcyon repeaters, we have our Frenzy cell, we have our Evasion cell, Dynamic Carbine, Full Bore Chamber, Captain's Grip, Tactician's Magazine, and I'll switch this to a Searing Prism. Searing Prism is better than both of these. In the next build that we'll be going over right after this, I will go in depth on each and every one of these things, so stick around if you want to hear a little bit more about that. The Evasion cell is here, so remove that if you don't want that. Swap it with anything else. We have the Thrax Helm. The Thrax Helm might take you a little bit to get up to level 10, but it's definitely worthwhile to get up to level 10 because it's a free +3 catalyst. You get your catalyst cell in the helm, and then you put a catalyst cell in this for your +6 catalyst, and that allows you to have max tonic effectiveness. My Nasher Cloak for +3 tough. Obviously, you might not need +3 tough, but you do need this Iceborne cell for this build if you want to cheese that out. If you don't want tough or Iceborne in this build, swap out the chest plate for literally anything else. Or if you want just Iceborne in the cell and build a no tough, swap out the chest plate, but make sure you keep yourself a defense slot. You can go with a Rage right here. That's really solid. Moving on, Hellblade Bracers for our +3 Molten. We also slot our Discipline cell here to knock ourselves down to half HP. Boyle's March, get Iceborne here, and then we slot a Wild Frenzy cell to get our +6 Wild Frenzy cell. If you don't want Iceborne on this build, you already swapped out the chest plate for another build that doesn't have a defensive slot. Then you can take your pants and switch them out with pretty much anything else that has a technique cell because technique slot because you need the Wild Frenzy cell. So you can go for things like Ether Hunter. That probably would be a nice thing. My Lantern, I have the Embermane's Rapture because attack speed is everything on this build. We'll go over to tonics now. Bulwark tonics reduces damage taken by 45% for the next 3 hits. I use Frenzy tonics and Blitz tonics, of course, because they're most powerful. 15% increase to damage dealt for 30 seconds and 10 to 30% increased attack speed based on health missing for 60 seconds is very nice. Alright, so now we're going to talk about my non-discipline build. This build is also a cheese build. It's called a cheese build because of the Skull Forge. The Skull Forge allows you to ride the behemoths, like the final bosses at the end of the escalations, forever. So, of course, let's get into it. First, we have a 6-stack of Molten. Overpowered, 60% damage versus staggered behemoths is really good on almost any build right now because there are a lot of different booping opportunities as well as like breaking parts and using heavy attacks. You can keep a lot of behemoths perma-staggered. Obviously, you're not going to be getting the staggers and the interrupts on your pistols, but if you're running with friends, this is the way to go. If you're not running with friends, I would recommend swapping out both of these overpowered cells to one Ether Hunter cell and one Rage Hunter cell. Tough, because if you're running a max health build, why not get some more health? It also gives you an increased health healing from all sources. Thirdly, we have the Ether Hunter, 20% damage for Ether Charged Behemoths. That's really nice. When they get angry, they start doing more damage, so why shouldn't you do more damage? As I said, if you're not running with the team, if you're doing solo queuing with like randos, swap one of those overpowered cells over for an Ether Hunter cell, change that 20% into 50% damage, and you're good to go. Next, I have a Catalyst cell, because you gotta have Catalyst cells if you're running tonics. We also have Evasion. Change it to a different cell if you don't like this. I know a lot of people hate this cell, so change it to a different cell. I like this cell. I have this cell. Moving on. Rage Hunter. 15% damage versus Enrage Behemoths. Have this exact same reason why I have Ether Hunter. Okay. In the repeaters, we got our Molten cell, our Evasion cell. Any of these that you would like. The Dynamic Carbine's my favorite. I love the Full Bore Chamber, but I've heard a lot of good things about the Marksman Chamber. If you get this off and mark parts, you can team can do a lot of damage, but I like my piercing shot that deals a bunch of damage. Anyways, I like my Captain's Grip. Captain's Grip is the best grip. There's no other grip you should use. Tactician's Magazine is the best thing to be using. Basically what it does is when you empower reload close to a behemoth with no ammo, it will reduce the cooldown to get back both your Q and your E ability, or your full bore chamber and your Captain's Grip ability, allowing you to just increase everyone's attack speed, as well as either doing more of the piercing shots or of the part tagging shots with this Marksman Chamber. I have the Searing Prism on this. The Searing Prism is definitely the best prism to have. The Skull Forge basically allows you to have infinite stamina while riding behemoths. It's OP for that. If you're not running Escalations, I would recommend switching it to the Thrax helm. It's the same helm I had in the other build, but that'll max out your Catalyst and allow you to get Conduit. It'll take away one of your tough cells, but don't really need tough. Valkyrian Soul is a chest plate. It gives you Ether Hunter, and I slot Molten to max that out. Gnasher's Grip gives you Rage Hunter, and I slot Overpowered to start my Overpowered stack. I would switch Overpowered to Rage Hunter in this to match up. And then in my treads, I get some tough. If you don't like tough, switch it to pretty much any cell with any pair of pants with the fist slot. Rage is really nice, so volcanic treads would probably be a solid option if you don't like tough. If you don't want to run overpowered, switch that to the Ether Hunter to match your Valkyrian Soul. My lantern, I use a Kashai's Bloom because there is no lifesteal on this build, so this is my lifesteal. On your tap ability of your lantern, you get 10% damage dealt, will heal you for 8 seconds. So with the high attack speed on this build, I generally heal up to full, especially if I use my piercing shot. And then the hold ability is really nice. It's a dash in a direction, and then it deals a little bit of damage, but what that can do is break you out of stuns. So when you're like staggered on the ground and whatnot, you hold your lantern and you dash forward. It's really nice. My consumables are Life Drain Tonic because this build is my cheese build. I like to have a lot of life drain on this build. But if you don't want to be running life drain tonics, the Bulwark tonics are really nice. And I like to pre-pot my frenzies and my blitz, just like the other build. Alright guys, if you did enjoy the video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to help me out. I'm also live daily over on Twitch. If you would like watching live streams, I would appreciate if you came over and dropped me a follow. Other than that, there's a couple other videos for you to watch if you want them that I've put out in the past. We're trying to do daily videos moving forward. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. I'll catch you in the next video.